Hey, thanks for checking out the Anjaneya Chef. We are making jambalaya today in today's episode. We've got chicken and shrimp jambalaya because somebody in the house doesn't eat pork, but that's okay. This jambalaya is not going to be missing anything. We've got some ingredients we're going to add that are going to put it over the top. Stay with us and watch what we're about to do here. All right, we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna fire up our stove, get this pan going here. We've got some really awesome ingredients we're gonna start with. We wanna get started because I've got raw chicken. We're gonna start with raw. Now, some people add, a lot of recipes that I found online call for cooked chicken. I like the fact that we can take our chicken and we can sear it up and really add the flavor right to the dish. So I've got some olive oil here. We're gonna go in a nice deep pan because we're gonna cook it. It's a one pot wonder right here. We're gonna add probably about a good quarter cup of olive oil right to the bottom of that pan. We're gonna let this kind of heat up a little. We're gonna get the flavor, get the heat going and get that oil ready to go because we've got some vegetables we're gonna add. We're gonna sweat them off, and we got some chicken thighs actually. What I did was I bought a pack of chicken thighs, and they're boneless and skinless. And what I did was I diced them up into about half-inch dice, and that's probably good. We're gonna go ahead and add this right in there now. Let that kind of sear up. That's probably what I have here is probably about 1.5 pounds. Now, we want to make a nice big jambalaya because I have a huge family and you never know who shows up in this house. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to split this chicken up. Let this saute up a little bit. Now, you can start to hear it starting to sizzle a little bit. We want to get a good marking on it, kind of sear up the bottom of that pan. What's going to happen is the chicken is going to add, it's going to sear the bottom of the pan, it's going to add that flavor right into the oil. So when we add all of our seasonings in there, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Now, if you wanted to add sausage to it, this would probably be the time you'd add the sausage right in there. But we've got shrimp, and I purchased some pre-cooked shrimp, and you can get raw shrimp, which is fine too. But I'm just gonna wait. We're gonna wait on the cooked shrimp because we don't want to add that now because it'll end up being like rubber trying to eat it later. We're gonna add that closer to the end of the process. So let's get this thing started here. Yeah, we got this chicken cooking up here. While this is searing, let's talk a little bit about the palette that I created here. I started to make my own Creole spice, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of bring some bold flavors out in this dish. So I've got some basil, I've got some oregano, I've got some thyme, I've got some cayenne pepper, I've got some garlic, and I've got some sage, and I also have some edge right in the middle. What I want to do is I'm just going to kind of stir all this together and make my own little spice. There's probably about a teaspoon of each in there, and that's going to be like our own little Cajun spice. And I want to talk a little bit about it. The cayenne pepper adds a lot of heat. If you don't want a lot of heat, you can leave some of that out or add half the amount that I added. But really what that's going to do is that's going to bring sexiness to the dish. So with that, we've got our own spice. Now you could always add this to a small container and keep it and reserve it. What we're going to do is we're going to season that chicken up while it's searing. And I added a couple of hefty pinches. I'm going to go ahead and say a good solid tablespoon in there. And we can save that for another time. We're going to add more stuff to it at the end anyway, so. But I just want to kind of give that chicken some flavor while it's cooking. Oh. I know I'm getting it. I don't know if anybody else is. We're going to add, now here is where the love is. I pre-diced a bunch of vegetables. And what I've got is I've got one diced onion, and I diced it probably about a ½ inch thick. And I've got diced onion, I've got some diced celery, probably about this much of the celery stalk. So I would say probably maybe half a cup of celery diced. I've got some bell peppers, assorted colored bell peppers, probably a total of 2 bell peppers total cut. So, I had a half of a red, a half of a yellow, a half of a green, and a half of an orange in there. So that's pretty much what the total of that is going to be. So let's go ahead and we want to sweat those vegetables off a little and let them start to cook down. I've got some amazing fresh herbs we're going to throw in there too. It's going to put this dish over the top. My friends in Resolution 15, they're out of New York. They're a band that's breaking the circuit right now, and they have a secret weapon in their arsenal. that not many metal bands have, and that's a violin. It's an electric violin. It actually sounds incredible. So in the thought process of what we're going to do today, I was thinking, you know what would be really cool is if we could have an ingredient that you wouldn't expect to have in a jambalaya end up in a jambalaya as a result of that whole violin and metal scenario. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add a tablespoon of fresh minced ginger. Yeah, it's going to blow your minds. Trust me. I'm going to add a tablespoon of fresh ginger, and there's nothing like fresh ginger. Trust me, it's got that bold, bright, lemony, clean flavor that, oh, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So I just went ahead and I minced that up ahead. We're going to throw that in there, and that's your violin in this metal dish right here. Trust me on that. Yeah, we want to kind of sweat these vegetables up just a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some spices to it. I've got some fresh chopped parsley. Let's go ahead and add that liberally. Good solid quarter cup of chopped parsley and fresh cilantro. I'm a big guy. I'm a fresh herb guy.
The smell is getting better and better.
Oh, and it's going to too. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. As we go forward, it's going to be absolutely incredible. And I've got some minced scallions here, and I'm going to reserve some of these. Another good quarter cup, because I want to saute those onions up a little bit too. But we're going to save some because we want to garnish the top of that jambalaya with the green onions. It actually makes it look a little nicer. But yeah, oh man, that's crazy. What a smell. Oh, and that ginger. People are going to eat your jambalaya and they're going to say, what is that flavor? I can't put my finger on it. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be that ginger. So, all right, so I've got the chicken and the vegetables are starting to sweat down just a little bit. Now, what I've got here is I've got probably about 2.5 to 3 cups of mixed rice. Now, you can get, if you go to your supermarkets, again, same idea, Kat, with the supermarkets. They have mixed wild rice packets and they have different, just watch out for the sodium content. Some of them come pre-flavored. You want to kind of avoid some of those. I've got, what I have here is I have an orzo, wild rice, and regular, like an Uncle Ben's converted kind of a rice mixture all together here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this, and I just kind of want to brown up some of that. The orzo in this particular batch is toasted a little bit, but I just kind of want to get some of that oil on there and flavor it up a little as well. So we're going to go ahead and throw that in there. And this is really where the meat of the whole dish is going to be. This is where the bulk of the dish comes from. We're going to add our stock after the fact, and what's going to happen is we're going to let that cook down. It's going to take a little bit. We're going to let it cook down just a bit. But once we add this, now we've got the heat on it. We're going to toast up some of the orzo that's in it, some of the specialty. You know, if you look at the packaging, it's got some specialty ingredients. You want some of the dark rice, some of the real Louisiana type stuff, the long grain type stuff. So just keep your eyes open for that. Just be careful. Like I said, some of them come pre-seasoned. You want to try to steer clear of that. Just get a bag of wild rice and a bag of converted, and you'll be okay. So, all right, so we've got that going. Now we're going to go ahead and add some San Marzano tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of whole tomatoes right in there. We're going to let these bad boys cook down. I've got a can. I'm going to add, this is a 28-ounce can. I would say go ahead and add a good half a can right to the mix. Tomatoes and juice combined, so you'll end up with a half a can at the end. Add that right in there. Oh my goodness. All right, I've got some chicken stock here, and what I want to do is I'm going to, as I usually do, I'm going to kind of eyeball it. I've got 2 quarts of chicken stock. What we want to do is, and you can use whatever flavored chicken stock you like. You can use bouillon, you can use chicken base, you can buy the cartons of chicken stock. You know, they're all good. It's really a matter of preference. So what I've got 2 quarts here. We're not going to use anywhere near that much. What I want to do at this point is I'm just going to kind of pour it right in. And I'm going to pour it till I feel like it's enough. So I'm going to tell you in a second. And that is about 1.5 quarts. We're at 1.5 quarts. And I'm going to stop right there because I kind of want to mix this all up now. And let this go. Notice we didn't add the shrimp yet. Now, if you had raw shrimp, you would have added it probably about this time. Because what's going to happen now is, now that we've got all this liquid in there, we want to bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to shut it off and let it steam. And that's where you would want it to be, because you don't want to add the shrimp with the chicken, because the shrimp would end up like rubber. So this is going to take a while to come up because there's so much stuff in there that just needs to love. But now's the time that we're going to go ahead and add that chipotle. And trust me, Oh my goodness. Now, I'm not a liberal, but I am liberal when it comes to chipotle peppers, and Ken knows that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a solid teaspoon of chipotle powder. And we're back. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our shrimp right to this. This has been rolling now right through that song. And we'll talk about the man in just a second. But I'm gonna reduce this down just a little bit because it's actually right at the stage where we wanna add the cooked shrimp. We're gonna add, I added 1 bag, which is 1 pound of cooked shrimp. And again, if you wanted to use raw shrimp, you'd add them just a little bit earlier, but this is perfect because we still have plenty of broth in here. We want to add that shrimp right to it. We're going to cover this, bring it back to a boil, and then shut it down. Set it and forget it, just like that stupid infomercial. Hey, so check this out. The music that you're listening to is by our friends Resolution 15, and it's off their album Swaha. All right, wrapping it up here. We've got the, like I said, we let this jambalaya kind of steep in this steam for about 10 to 15 minutes. Even if it's a little saucy, it's okay. I tasted the rice. I gave it a quick test to see the tenderness of the rice to make sure we were good, and we are. So we'll get right into the wine. So the wine that we chose for today's episode is a really dry white. It's a Tangent 2010 Albarino grape, which is absolutely incredible. I've actually been drinking it on camera right through the whole episode because as I'm tasting this, the heat is the great thing about this wine is it's got a nice pepper flavor at the end, which actually complements the heat of the jambalaya. And it's not too spicy, but it just kind of adds another dimension to it. So, and I think the citrusy flavor of it will be great. That being said, I want to say, hey, thank you very much for checking out The Anodized Chef. Thank you for joining us in our magic, our madness, and our mayhem. We will see you next time.